Okay, welcome to the extra video for week 4 over vocabulary. We're going to be discussing our vocabulary, so you need to have your vocabulary page out. It's going to have 4 parts to it. And the first part is where we put our main vocabulary word. This is the definition for our main vocabulary word. And then we have some examples to go with our main vocabulary word, okay? Now, these words down here give you lots of extra words that have to do with this one. Like, for example, line. It is a mark that has 2 points. It has both direction and length. So we have a point here, there's 2 points, and it has direction and length. It's going this way, or it could be going this way. Now, when we do line, we can have a horizontal line, vertical line, a zigzag line, broken lines, which are here, implied lines, which we haven't learned too much about those, symmetrical lines like this, curved lines, we have some examples of that, hatching there, and loop lines. You could probably think of a couple of other ones, so we don't have to define it just by these. If you can think of some other good words that we have talked about when we talk about line, you can include those as well. Pattern, the repetition of any element of art in your artwork, when things repeat. So here's repeat as one of our words that accompanies pattern. Radiate, because sometimes patterns radiate from the middle. Center, there's usually a center to them. Spiral, frequent, all these different words can go with pattern. And like I said, if you can think of a couple of more, you can include those down here. That's perfectly fine. And here's some examples of it. Weight, that's the thickness of a line or brushstroke. So we can have thick, thin, light, dark. Those are some words that go with weight. And here are some examples of a thick, dark line and then a very thin, light line. Gesture drawing. These are some of our 2 recent ones. It's meant to show movement and volume of the object, created with many lines that are drawn in the direction of the object's movements. Okay, so we have a lot of scribbly lines, but they're all drawn in the direction that the object's moving. We may have his arms up here, but it's all drawn out that way. These are all drawn out this direction, okay? The legs are all drawn out. And some words that go with this are line of action, because remember we draw our head, and then we have a line of action that goes all the way down to their foot. Head, here's a line of action all the way down to the foot. Movement, because they show movement. Expressive, they express things. Okay, this one seems very happy. They're rapid, we draw them rapidly, and they're fluid. The lines are very fluid, they flow together, okay? Perspective lines, there are horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines that are arranged on paper, because we did that. Here's our horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines. Okay, they go all the way around, right? They're on paper that provide a guide. See how they guide us? They show us where our lines are supposed to be so we can make these shapes. They provide a guide for creating the illusion, because these are really flat, right? They just look 3-dimensional. The illusion of 3D objects on a 2D surface. This piece of paper is a 2D surface. It does not stick out, right? There's really not a box on here, but it looks like there is. It's giving us the illusion because this has provided us a guide for creating these 3D objects. So, words that go with this are horizon line, orthogonal, transversal. We talked about these before. Vanishing point, we know where that is. Perspective, distance, because these things show distance, right? Point of view, depending on how you're looking at it. You can also use some other words that we discussed, such as eye level, right? This is supposed to be the line that shows things that are eye level. So you can include that one on there if you would like to. You don't have to only have these. If you think of other ones that go with these, you can go ahead and add them, okay? Don't be afraid to do that. And you can use them in your drawings and stuff. So now, what are these for? What do we do with these vocabulary words? The only thing we're going to use them for is to do our discovery journals, our art investigations, okay? Okay, here's an example of a discovery journal. We have the discovery journal sheet down here, the grading sheet. Okay, and this person got 100. And it has line study, which is our title, strange animals, which is the theme. So they did strange animals for all of their objects, and they talked about line for each one. So this is where you would use your vocabulary. You could say, what words can I use out of my vocabulary for this image? And they said the unicorn has repeating lines on the wings. So they used the word repeating, okay? They could also use the word diagonal for the direction that these lines go, right? So they could say zigzag lines. There are zigzag lines here with the teeth. So you can see that there are lots of different opportunities to use your vocabulary. So we can look at your vocabulary and say, wait, can we use any of these about the thick or thin lines? Yes, we can. These stripes are made with thick lines. We could talk about that. We could say these stripes are made with thick lines with a little line pointing over here. We can say, we don't have any perspective on here, but we could use repeat. We could use broken lines. Up here for the forehead, we have some broken lines because they have space in between them. And they're also slightly symmetrical. These lines are symmetrical, so we could say that. So there's lots of different places that we can use our vocabulary words. And using vocabulary words, the vocabulary, 4 of them will get you 1 point, okay? So this person had at least 4, so they got 1 point punch for that, okay? So this is where you use your vocabulary in this. You're not going to use them anywhere else. But it's a good thing to practice using as many as you can when you do this, because it will help your artistic lingo. That means help you talk more like an artist. And you can use any of these that are available. Now remember, your focused vocabulary word has to be part of when you describe your main drawings. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to use the word line in each of your main drawings when you describe them, okay? Because that is your focus word. And here it is in your title. It's going to be your focus word. So remember, you have to use this one in every single one. But the rest of these, you can use them wherever you want. It doesn't matter. So hopefully this clears a few things up. If you have any more questions, you can comment on the video or you can send me a text. Okay? All right. Bye.